It is hard to come across a person who has not heard of Alexander the Great. If you have not heard of Alexander the Great, are you even paying attention to your history classes? Alexander III of Macedon was one of the most prominent rulers in Greek history. Throughout his rule, he led a lengthy military campaign throughout Western Asia and Egypt. At the mere age of 30, he became the ruler of one of the largest empires in the entirety of history. He was the emperor of every region, following in and between Greece and Northwestern India. As you can see, Alexander the Great had some crazy awesome leadership skills. If you are curious about what you can learn from the rise of Alexander the Great, then you have come to the right place. So, without wasting more time, let us get into it. Number 1. Discipline. It is a given that if someone wants to achieve something in life, the first thing that they have to do is establish discipline. Alexander the Great was able to lead a highly disciplined army due to his father's method. It is said that the troops were drilled until they could execute complex battlefield movements, even with their eyes shut or in their sleep. In addition to that, Alexander the Great's father even made the soldiers march for countless miles on mountains with full packs until they dropped from exhaustion. Thanks to such vigorous training, the Macedonians' war skills were perfectly drilled. Each move of theirs was splendidly synchronized, and they could charge at their enemy within seconds. You can apply discipline in your life through various ways. Of course, you do not need to take such extreme as Phillips. Number 2. Charisma. Charisma is one of the qualities that you need to learn from Alexander the Great. You might already know that charisma is an individual's ability to attract and influence other people. It goes without saying that Alexander the Great was a very charismatic person. Usually, some people are born with such charisma, but it does not mean you can practice it and then earn the quality. You can be charismatic by being more confident in yourself, smiling more, embracing your vulnerability, and also maintaining eye contact while talking to people. Number 3. Psychological warfare. Before anyone could think about using psychology as a way to win battles, Alexander the Great had already figured it out. Scholars and researchers say that Alexander was an absolute master in this field. He used his wits and abilities and made the opposing armies think that they were not good enough to fight his army. He even made the whole opposing army think that they had no chance to beat him. Using his mind-bending abilities, Alexander made entire cities and towns surrender to him without an itch. Number 4. Compelling vision. Alexander the Great thought that to accomplish great things, you also need to have a clear and compelling vision. If he never had the vision to take over about half of the world, then he would probably never have been able to achieve them. Subsequently, if that had happened, he would not have the words "the Great" beside his name, and he would have never become such an eminent part of history. So, if you want to accomplish a goal, you need to have your own vision. Number 5. Practice what you preach. Ever heard of the phrase, walk the talk? Alexander the Great was a human who was the living definition of the phrase. Whatever he preached, he made sure that he practiced it. If his troops were fighting, he would be leading them on fearlessly from the front. If his troops went hungry or thirsty, he also would go hungry or thirsty. He did the same when his troops' horses died. He would walk alongside them. Although it is also important to mention that he would soon succumb to the luxury of the Persian court when he earned the title Alexander the Great. We do not recommend you do that. Practice what you preach, folks. Number 6. Invest in talent. Alexander the Great thought ahead of his time. In that day and time, he used to invest his empire's resources in increasing the talent and skills of his troops. Not only did he invest in troops that were present at that time, but he also prepared the future troops by developing the younger generation. Next time someone says that investing in talent is a waste of time, then do not forget to whip out our video and show them that Alexander the Great would like to defer. Number 7. Encourage innovation. Innovation refers to any changes in something established, especially by introducing new methods, ideas, or products. We all know that as time passes, innovation is needed in rules or anything in our daily life. Although not many people knew the importance of innovation during ancient times, so it would be a great deal if Alexander already knew its importance. He sensed the advantage of strategic innovation. Alexander proved this through the adept deployment of his troops and through allowing the creativity of the corps of engineers to enter his support system. In addition to that, he had his own logistical acumen, and with all of its combined, his skills were unmatched for the time. Number 8. Proper succession planning. This is a lesson taught by Alexander the Great's mistake. Even though his thoughts were too progressed for someone so back in history, he did look over a few things. He did not make preparations for who would be continuing his legacy after his death. This led to countless regions of the empires being taken away by political vultures. Number 9. Social intelligence. If we had to define social intelligence, we would say that it is a person's ability to interpret and manage according to it in an interpersonal relationship. You should not confuse it with someone's IQ or book smarts. It is said that Alexander would be able to turn the tables by his ability to easily understand and then act on the feelings, thoughts, and behaviors of other people. As Alexander had almost explored half of the world, he had also observed many people, which could explain where he got his social intelligence from. Number 10. Persistence. Another quality of Alexander the Great that you need to learn to climb the stairs of success is to be persistent. Alexander had been able to acquire so many cities through his decade-long span of non-stop battles. One of the battles that prove his persistence is the battle over the city of Tyre. The city's troops constantly ate at the soldiers that Alexander the Great threw at them. Alexander was not able to conquer the city until his plan was to enter the city through a small funnel dug by his soldiers. For this plan of his to come into action, it took him over 6 months. Number 11. Execution of vision. Alexander had a great vision, yes, and he knew exactly how he wanted to execute it. That is how he turned his vision into reality. He used his talented information system to find out his opponent's motives and how he will be pushing their faces into the ground. A big factor that helped Alexander the Great with the execution of his vision was his rigid, loyal team. His team was built in such a way that all of its members highly respected Alexander the Great and were greatly committed to him. The troops were thought to work as a team so that they could cover each other's weaknesses by him. Number 12. Encouraging followers. Alexander knew that encouraging his followers and supporting them would only result in an advantage for him. He knew if he encouraged them, then they will be more willing to work for him and will be less likely to betray him. He routinely congratulated them for their outstanding performances in the field, society, etc. with prominent awards. Not only that, Alexander showed his support to his followers by listening to their problems. He used to sympathize with them and solve their problems. Number 13. Unity. Alexander the Great used multiple ways to untie his people into one strong group. He was able to, through his smooth talking skills, through the language that his soldiers would understand, and this had a hypnotic-like effect on the masses. Plus, he used powerful culture symbols to bring out strong emotions in people, using their faith. When masses of people are united as one, worshipping Alexander the Great, no one would dare try to stand against him. That is how Alexander the Great's mind worked. He thought ahead of most people. Number 14. Consolidate gains. This lesson could be learned through one of Alexander the Great's mistakes. No matter how smart you may be, you will make a mistake here and there, and that was the case with Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great was too busy taking over empires that he forgot to put proper systems intact to integrate his empire. This is why he could not fully bask in the glory of his accomplishments. He chased after one goal and another, not thinking to consolidate the gains that he had already had. Through this, he had a risk of losing every accomplishment that he had ever bagged under his name. If you learned a lot about the lessons taught by the rise of Alexander the Great, don't shy away from liking our video and sharing it with your friends and loved ones. Let us know your favorite lesson from the life of Alexander the Great. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and press the notification button so that you never miss another amazing video from us. We will see you in the next one.